Re-subdivision plan lot line change, PB number 17-50. Hi. Please sign in and state your name and your affiliation with the project for the record.
I will. My name is Blythe Yost. I am the homeowner at 178 Elizabeth Street.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in the audience that wants to hear about this? Not you guys? Okay. So we're, nice and simple. Why is she here?
I'm here, it's a subdivision. We are buying a portion of our neighbor's property.
Okay, where's your neighbor? No, they don't care?
They don't care. They're happy to sell it.
Did you, okay.
They've been
Let me ask you something. Are you familiar with all this stuff that we read in tonight?
yes, and the engineer's report, or I'm sorry, there were some conditions
Yes?
requested, and we can certainly, I can ask that those be added to the plan.
Okay. So where's your engineer?
What's she getting shit for? She's just doing.
Oh, she doesn't have to pay
I'm
me.
doing it all by myself. I do these things.
Listen, I've been doing this for 14 years. I've never seen that's great.
Well,
Wonderful.
I also,
She's a landscaper.
I'm a landscape architect and I'm the chair
Well,
of
okay,
ACABOR,
so
so
there
I
you go.
better know what I'm doing.
And the chair of ACABOR?
Yeah.
Oh, well, how come I know? All right, so there you go. So you better know what you're doing.
I better, I don't know. You guys tell me when I'm done.
Okay, you don't do anything. You're okay? Okay, I'm going to read this into the record. And then they can ask you questions.
Sure.
I'm sure they'll get some. Zoning, Mr. Oliver says no comments. Mr. Peters says there's 4 comments. Okay, so whatever, these are very simple.
Yes.
Department of Planning. I'm wondering,
I can say.
you want to see the map?
No. Finally.
Okay, so planning has nothing. Oh. So Jay Greenwell, you don't want, oh, okay.
Yes, good old Jay.
Okay,
I
so,
saved him a trip.
I was gonna say, probably his feet too. It's good for
Doing
you.
my best.
Good for you.
Professional courtesy.
I'll come with you, when I need to come here, I'll call you, you can help me. No health approvals. No sewer. And then correspondent, not objecting to us and the health, from the Health and Board of Appeals, not objecting to us serving as lead agency. Did you advertise for final? Absolutely, that's good. Mr. Dell?
Yes, just 2 quick comments. I don't think I really have any questions. It's obvious that what you have here is that it's an amicable transfer of land from one lot to the other. Both lots are conforming currently to zoning, and this will not make any of them non-conforming. Is that true?
True.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Bond?
I have no
Thank you,
issues
Mr.
with it.
Bond. Mr. Warren? Thank you, Mr. Warren. Mr. Sweeney? Thank you, Mr. Sweeney.
No
Thank you,
comments.
Mr. Mandel. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to this application? Seeing none and hearing none, I need a motion to
I'll
close.
make motion to
Thank you,
close the
Mr. Bond. Thank you, Mr. Mandel. All in favor? Aye. I need a motion now for neg deck.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, lead agency, sorry, I'm getting too ahead of myself. Mr. Mandel makes the motion for lead agency, I need a second. Mr. Sweeney seconds, all in favor? Aye. Need a motion for neg deck. Mr. Warren makes the motion, second. Mr. Mandel seconds, all in favor? Aye. Need a motion for final with conditions. Mr. Bond makes the motion for final with conditions. We have Bruce Peters, 1. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong one, sorry. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. Bruce Peters, 4. That's it. Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Mandel, seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
You
you.
sound like auctioneers up there. I love it.
Good luck, good luck.
Good luck. Okay, second up is, US Info, oh, postponed. Next up is Kolb. That's who you're here for. Okay, come on up. Mr. Brenner, it's your turn. Let's go. Time's a-wasting. Are you here for Kolb?
Yes.
In the back? Just observing?
Moral support, right?
Okay. What do we got? Oh, this is what we talked about at the last meeting, Mr. Brenner?
That is correct.
Okay. So go ahead, Mr. Brenner, lay it on us.
I think the narrative would really say the whole story. You have the narrative?
I gotta read this now?
Well, you want to know
No,
what it's
this is,
about?
okay, wait a
I'll
minute.
read it for you if you want me to.
What narrative? During the planning stage of the development, that thing?
Yes.
Okay. During the planning stage, this is the project narrative for 582 Route 303, Kolb Subaru. During the planning stage of the development, it was determined that an access door in the western wall of the proposed building would greatly improve the internal operation of the service facility. Therefore, the drawing before you shows this requested access door. The new drawings also detail the additional drainage required by the planning board and the town engineer. Okay.
That's it primarily, that's what we're here for. If you take a look at the drawing, the only change on the drawing before the one you saw months ago was the fact that there is a door on the western side of it, and there is a guide rail put in that area because the grading was changed a little. We have drainage approval, we have everything else.
Okay, so Mr. Oliver doesn't have any comments. Did you see, it doesn't, we don't, Mr. Peters wants the road paved, not gravel.
We will speak to Mr. Peters and try to work out his, if we have to adhere to it, we will. If he changes it,
Well, it's in there as a condition.
It's a
right.
condition.
I know. I'm not asking the board to overturn it. We'll work it out
That's
with Mr.
good.
Peters.
Okay, so that letter, what about the letter from Mr. Peters for September 13th, Cheryl?
The 921 supersedes.
Okay, so there's 921,
He said, I think he said supplements.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He said
Okay.
supplements,
Supplements, I'm sorry.
all right.
But number one,
Good thing I
in
asked.
September 13th, was whether or not he should come back, and obviously he's back, so,
Okay,
you know, that was the biggest.
so there's 12 conditions in there too, Mr. Brenner.
Okay.
And then, wait, I missed something. So Mazur says that they addressed our lone outstanding comment. We therefore recommend final with two conditions. And then there's the letter from Michael Bettman, the chief fire inspector, and
Right.
he has 9.
Yeah, that has to be done.
Okay, so that's all I have, Cheryl. Hold on, wait, I did see something else. Didn't I?
Just that narrative.
Okay, that's it, that's what I saw. Okay, so that's all I have. Okay, so, Mr. Dell.
And I believe this is on the western side of the building, is that
That is correct,
It is.
yes.
So it's facing the railroad?
The railroad, that's correct.
And then beyond that, it's a whole series of other commercial
A big shopping
properties?
center with a big parking lot.
Right, okay, I just wanted to...
And Inky Dinky Doo.
Right,
Yeah, right.
exactly.
On the other side of the tracks.
Thereabouts.
I know.
So there's
And the
minimal
convenience.
impact on anything, and makes your building more usable for your client. Okay, no other questions, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dell. Mr. Bond?
No, I have no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Bond. Mr. Warren?
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. Mr. Sweeney?
No questions?
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Mr. Mandel?
No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mandel. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak to this? I see none and I hear none. I need a motion to close the public. Thank you, Mr. Bond. Mr. Bond makes the motion. Mr. Warren seconds. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I need a motion now for final amendment, for the amendment
Amend the
with
final.
conditions.
I'll make a motion to amend the final with conditions.
Okay, so Mr. Bond makes the motion to amend the final with the conditions. Bruce Peters, 1, and then his 12, although number 1 has already been taken care of. 2 to 12, okay. And then Mr. Mazur, their 2 conditions, and Mr. Bettman's 9 conditions. And Cheryl, that's all I have. Okay, so I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Mandel seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, there's nothing else on the agenda except for this FYI.
I gave that to,
I will ask you to read this at your leisure. It has nothing to do with us.
But you, I think you're gonna refer it to this building department, right?
I already gave it to the.
Oh,
about
I'm
this?
sorry, yes, we're gonna refer this to the building department.
Should it be also referred to the ZBA?
Well, Well, I think Bill Clark will determine whether that's.
Okay.
Well, yeah, to whether or not it's a use, a permitted use. Okay, anything else, Cheryl? I need a motion for decisions from the September 13th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bond makes the motion, Mr. Sweeney recuses himself, I need a second. Mr. Mandel seconds, all in favor? Aye.
Okay, I wasn't at the meeting, so.
Oh, so
I have-
Mr. Warren says too. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, we have enough to approve the minutes. Well, Mr. Warren and Mr. Sweeney weren't here, so they have to kind of, I think that they are allowed to
As
vote
long as they
on the
read them
minutes.
and don't have the objection.
You read the minutes and you have no
They
objection.
familiarize themselves with the process.
Okay,
Also-
so then everybody votes A and nobody votes no.
Also, with this letter, you may want to put it in the file for the Bradley corporate part that's coming.
Yes, okay, so when they come back in all their glory, I shouldn't say this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Dell?
I'd like to, I think the board would agree, we'd like to thank Mr. Oliver for his service.
Yes, Ms. Oliver.
For all his tenure, certainly appreciated, and
And
certainly
a
in the
very,
best
very
interest
good
of
job, too.
I don't know if I believe you, but thank you.
No, seriously, I mean, we know how tough it is.
Difficult.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
And if we knew we were gonna have meetings, knew we were gonna have meetings like this, we'd keep you.
Warren 1, Sweeney 2nd, all in favor? Aye. Thank you.